Davis. I'm the project coordinator here at Ogof Adullam.
I'm Kevis Davis and I'm the Deputy Project Coordinator.
Ogof Adullam is basically a drop-in centre. We're set up really to look at those individuals in the city who are homeless, prison leavers, those with addiction issues. Asylum seekers is a big one now. We get asylum seekers regular. Pretty much anyone who's lonely, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
We do emphasise that it's a Christian project, and that's the focus of it is the Lord. Ogof is the Welsh word for cave. Adullam's cave is in the first book of Samuel, chapter 22, verses 1 to 2. And basically, it's where David went when he ran away from King Saul at the time, and God just sent him all pretty much the rejects of the time. He sent them off to the cave to be with David, and God turned them into an unbeaten fighting army, and it's the same God we serve today. We're still dealing with the rejects of society today. God hasn't rejected them, but a lot of our society has, and we believe that God wants to do another job and really work with these guys. We're open 3 evenings a week, Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, 5 till 9 p.m. Why in the evenings was, I came through addiction issues, and in Swansea, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, there's a lot of support. However, I realised that outside of that support, there was very little. Those are the times I personally struggled, early days, so I realised that we needed, as a church, to do something about this. It's a drug and alcohol-free zone, and we always emphasise the fact that we need to keep people safe while they're in here.
I think people do feel safe and secure when they come here, and it's a safe place for them to build relationships, and I think that's the biggest benefit that we've seen are the relationships that have been developed, both with volunteers and guests, and also between the guests, and just to see people coming out of their shells has been a real blessing, really, isn't it? And I think that's the biggest benefit that we've seen. I think it's a family atmosphere as well. I think that's what comes across and what people say quite often is that it feels like a family, and just to see people sitting down and playing games with each other and laughing and joking is a really positive thing.
Yeah. I came here, I was actually homeless at the beginning of the year, and I knew of the place, and I came here, because I had nowhere to go at the time, and I couldn't fault the guys, everyone was so helpful, so nice, and it was just, when you're homeless, I'd been evicted, I'd had previous problems at a couple of addresses, and then they let me, I came here, and the advice they gave me about housing and things like that, and it was just nice to be able to come in, it was just like February time, January, February. Well, it's just nice to sit down and have a cup of coffee, and just feel a bit normal.
It's a certain time out where you normally meet and speak to people which you wouldn't do unless it was with family. It's a good community of people of all walks which feel comfortable, that's the main thing. They feel safe, they feel good, they feel they can be themselves, and that then, even if that little bit of a feeling can turn on, and I know this personally can turn on and make you want, it gives you a longing to be a certain way which you want to be perhaps, if you're steering the wrong path.
Been coming here now for 5 years, and every time it's welcoming and warm, and then anybody from any race, religion are welcome. You want to sit down with mainly Hugh or one of the staff who have actually been there in their lives to respond to it. They will help you as much as they can. I can walk in there in a minute and not feel any grief on my shoulders at all, and leave a really happy guy. I've made about 20 friends in that room, which has never happened to me in my life before.
One of the reasons that we're so successful is the fact that it's a volunteer base that help us out, and they've just been phenomenal, our volunteers, and we couldn't run the project without them.
I'm Jill, and I'm part of a Wednesday group of volunteers and at Ogof Adullam, and I really enjoy every minute. I work in the kitchen, which is really, really busy. The first 2 hours, I don't sit down till about 7 o'clock, and everybody who comes in is just, they're so grateful for the clothing or the food and the warmth and the company and a smile. That is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
Yeah, I'm Quentin Hawkins. I'm a volunteer here at Ogof Adullam. I'm a Methodist local preacher, but it's just somewhere where if they've got problems, or if they're worried, or if they're tired, or if they're hungry, They can come down and relax, have a bite to eat. In the winter they can get warm. Just basically to be a safe space for them.
I'm Howard Long, I'm the Superintendent Minister of the Methodist Church here in Swansea and Gower, and for me the Ogof Adullam project is Christianity in action. It's about the church today living out the gospel of Jesus Christ by caring for those in real need and making a huge difference to their lives. John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, had a saying. He said, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. That's what we're trying to do at Ogof Adullam.
What I'd like to do now is get a couple of our guests, get them into recovery house, get them cleaned up if you like. Hopefully they'll come back to the drop-in as volunteers when they're stable enough, and when people come in who've known them in the past and say, flipping heck, Steve, what happened to you? Well, they say, well, this happened to me, do you want to try it? If they don't, that's fine, we're still here for them, but if they do, great. And if there's a space, let's move them on, sort of thing.